AEW Collision draws its lowest total viewership in the history of its program, dropping over 40% in total viewership and over 50% in the key demographic. Details on that, plus Adam Copeland. We've got more details on his current entrance music in AEW and one person who's featured in it that you might not have noticed at first glance. Also details on his impressive social media numbers since his signing with All Elite Wrestling was revealed. The Young Bucks tease a special surprise for this week's edition of AEW Dynamite on TBS. Bryan Danielson lists the opponents he would like to face in his final full-time year as a professional wrestler. And Sammy Callahan opens up on his departure from Impact Wrestling. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. And let's start off with the AEW Collision numbers and ratings and viewership, because it doesn't look good for All Elite Wrestling, as AEW Collision has drawn record low ratings against NXT No Mercy as well as college football. Saturday night's episode of AEW Collision on TNT averaged 327,000 viewers, which is down 41.8% from the previous week. It's the lowest total audience in the history of the show. Collision also drew a 0.08 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic. That's down 55.6% from last week, and it's also the lowest rating in the show's history too. Other than a May 13 episode of Rampage that aired on a Friday afternoon, it's the lowest 18 to 49 rating of any first-run AEW programming in the company's history. The show had the usual heavy college football competition, but also went head-to-head with NXT No Mercy as well. The 4 lowest Collision episodes have all come on the same day as a WWE Premium Live event. In addition to that, as I mentioned, it's not good numbers. Of course, it was the go-home episode prior to AEW Wrestle Dream as well, in the same building, the Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington. The show was headlined by a Wrestle Dream All-Star main event. However, it wasn't strong enough to draw a decent number. What are your thoughts on those numbers? What are your thoughts on a record low for not only AEW Collision, but also a record 18 to 49 demographic low for a show that was featured in its usual time slot? Let me know your thoughts about that. Let me know your thoughts about Collision moving forward, particularly when it comes to now the strong sports competition on Saturdays, when it comes to obviously college football. In addition to that as well, strong competition from premium live events as well. It's going to be the same situation this coming Saturday, of course, when it comes to WWE Fastlane. Let me know your thoughts about that. Now, Adam Copeland made his AEW debut this past weekend, Sunday at Wrestle Dream, when former WWE star Adam Copeland, previously known as Edge, made his AEW debut on Sunday night. He did so with a familiar entrance theme, Metalingus, a song by the band Alter Bridge. The brief opening cue to Edge's music, which predates the use of the song itself, used to be the voice of a woman saying the line, "You think you know me." Well, that was recorded and owned by WWE. There was nothing stopping Copeland from recording a new version of the intro, and according to journalist Chris Muller, Copeland has confirmed fan suspicion that he and his wife, WWE superstar Beth Phoenix, recorded the new intro themselves. Rather than copy the original intro exactly, the new introduction includes a slight variation with the phrasing changed to "You think you know him." Some AEW viewers with keen ears were able to detect Phoenix's voice before the news was officially confirmed. While it seems that Phoenix won't be joining her husband physically in AEW for the time being, she will at least have a presence in his on-screen presentation each time he comes out to the ring. During the media scrum that followed AEW Wrestle Dream on Sunday, Copeland discussed his reasons for leaving WWE and heading to AEW, stating that he had simply grown apart from the company and wasn't interested in what they had planned for him creatively. The former WWE champion also detailed his experience to go out and film his intro vignette with Darby Allin a few nights prior, stating that they traveled through some questionable parts of Seattle and at points had people hanging out the vehicle windows to capture shots. Now, speaking of the possibility of Beth Phoenix joining Adam Copeland in AEW, he has spoken on that as well. While Copeland became a free agent in September after his WWE contract expired, it's unclear if his wife Beth Phoenix would be able to make the same move. Asked about Beth possibly coming into AEW in the AEW Wrestle Dream media scrum, Copeland replied, quote, "Anytime I get to be close to Beth, obviously I'm going to be super excited about that. I don't know about the possibilities of that in the foreseeable. I love being around her. Obviously, we've had a blast when we did get to work together, where she will still be instrumental without anyone knowing it is her she is my sounding board. If you see me do something that you think worked, it was always bounced off Beth, and she always gives me better ideas back. It's kind of amazing to be married to a Hall of Famer. It's pretty cool who can suplex you. Now, Phoenix last wrestled at the WWE Elimination Chamber event earlier this year, teaming with her husband to defeat the Judgment Day, that being Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley. What are your thoughts when it comes to Beth Phoenix? Do you think she could show up in AEW at some point, given now that Adam Copeland is with the company? Now, speaking of Adam Copeland as well, what's quite interesting is the social media numbers that he's done as well. Obviously, there's been several videos floating around, official AEW videos of his entrance, the whole segment, etc. Now, footage from Adam Copeland's debut can be seen on AEW's YouTube channel. The footage at the time of recording this video has been viewed over 3 million times. It's actually, I think, the trending number 3 video today on YouTube as well. For comparison, the AEW videos on either side had been viewed 419,000 times, and again, it's pretty impressive as well. Further examples of the popularity of Copeland's debut can be seen when compared to other show-related videos. They've been viewed 98,000 times for Swerve Strickland's entrance at WrestleDream, 62,000 times for Darby Allin's main event entrance at WrestleDream. So the fact that, as I mentioned, it's been viewed over 3 million times is a pretty big deal for AEW. The most popular video on AEW's YouTube channel is the AEW Online exclusive Cody Rhodes vs. Orange Cassidy from October in 2019, which has racked up 45 million views. The majority of YouTube videos sitting around the 3 million views mark from at least a year ago. So again, the fact that this fresh video has done 3 million views is a pretty good deal, certainly for AEW. Now, Adam Copeland, as I mentioned, has made his AEW debut, and WWE have updated their intro video accordingly. NXT No Mercy took place on September 30, and that was the last time that Copeland would be featured in the main WWE intro reel. Last night on Monday Night Raw, it was evidence that a change had been made. John Pollock of Post Wrestling has now shared the updated WWE intro, showing that Edge has been replaced by Seth Rollins. The change happened after NXT No Mercy, with the new opening being used on the October 2nd episode of Monday Night Raw last night. Edge had been removed from the SmackDown intro video this past Friday, but he was still in the main WWE intro for No Mercy, but it appears now that that official change has been confirmed. Now, AEW Dynamite this week is the 4-year anniversary edition of AEW Dynamite, and AEW EVPs Matt and Nick Jackson of the Young Bucks have teased a surprise ahead of Wednesday's October 4 edition of Dynamite. The Young Bucks are the new #1 contenders for the AEW World Tag Team Championships after winning a tag team 4-way bout at the October 1st WrestleDream pay-per-view. At the end of the latest episode of Being the Elite, the brothers reflected on the show and their crazy travel schedules, hinting that a surprise could be in store that fans will be happy with. Matt Jackson said, quote, "There's been a lot of shows. Obviously, we've had shows. We're trying to travel from the West Coast to the East Coast every single week. It's been a lot. It's taxing. Guess what? Big night for us, right? Adam Copeland debuts. We got our future title match. Yeah, big things. I would like to do that, by the way. We're all tired, so I have a little bit of a surprise to make. Travel, a little bit of a surprise for us this Wednesday coming up. Stay tuned. I think you guys are all going to be happy. Rick's invited too." That being Rick Knox, the referee, who reportedly has a little bit of heat backstage at the moment over the Jon Moxley concussion incident at the Grand Slam edition of Dynamite. But what are your thoughts when it comes to this surprise? What do you think the surprise is? Do you think it's a significant surprise, or do you think it's a case of just a small surprise that the Young Bucks hardcore fans will be happy with? Let me know your thoughts about that. Bryan Danielson, of course, he has teased this is his final year as a full-time pro wrestler in All Elite Wrestling. Bryan Danielson, according to himself, is in the final year of his full-time wrestling career, and he spoke about his plans in an interview with the Getting Over podcast. According to Danielson, he's less focused on accomplishing things and more focused on appreciating his time in wrestling. Quote, "I have people I'd like to get in the ring with," Danielson explained. "Most of them are AEW people because they're the most easily accessible. For example, I would love to do a match with Darby Allin in Seattle. How cool would that be? Even like Nick Wayne, me and Swerve have never wrestled, and I'm just talking about Washington State wrestlers. I want to do another match with Kenny Omega. There's all these different things I would like to do, but I don't want to limit it to names. What I really want out of this year is to be fully present and to be able to appreciate this being my last full-time year in wrestling." Danielson noted that he isn't just trying to appreciate the in-ring work, but also the little moments of joy that come from traveling with the same locker room for months out of the year. The AEW star claimed that he's fond of discussing production and other facets of the business that he can't talk about with his regular friends. That said, he never intentionally sought to become a leader. Quote, "I've never aspired to be a leader," Danielson said, explaining that he took a personality test in WWE and scored a 0 on things like desire for power or desire for worldly success. Those were the lowest scores they've ever seen. Danielson chalks up his aptitude for wrestling to his passion for the business, noting that he's very bad at things he doesn't like, but tends to succeed at things he does like, and believes that any leadership role he's developed over his career has come from leading by example, as opposed to forcing his will on younger wrestlers. So who would you like to see Bryan Danielson face off against in his final year as a full-time pro wrestler? Now, many people enjoyed the dream match between Bryan Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. at WrestleDream this weekend, but one person didn't, that being WWE Hall of Famer Bully Ray, stating it was too clean and too perfect. On an event that was touted as a new era for AEW by Tony Khan, Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. faced each other for only the third time in their respective careers. Speaking about the match on Busted Open Radio, Bully Ray would explain his dislike for the match, saying, quote, "Last night I watched Danielson and Sabre and I'm like, I'm just not into this one. And then I realized why. There was no struggle. Thatcher and Riddle showed me struggle in their style. Zack Sabre did not have that. It almost looked too clean, too perfect, too good. And I think the lack of the struggle is what made it not as entertaining for me. I know that match was entertaining to everybody else and they loved it and 5 stars and screamed to the top of my lungs, but it just wasn't my taste because there was no in-between. There was no struggle to fight. Zack Sabre barely had a glisten of sweat on him when the match was over. I just didn't feel like it was a fight, a wrestling match, which had something more to it than what I got." Zack Sabre Jr. would comment on the result of the third match after WrestleDream, saying that the match had to settle the best technical wrestler, came with a scoundrel move that Nigel McGuinness would note isn't technical wrestling. He has suggested that maybe they have another match either in Britain or in Japan at some point in the future. But what are your thoughts on Bully Ray's criticism of that match? Was it too clean? Was it too perfect? Or was it a match that just really wasn't for him? Finally, Sammy Callahan has opened up about his Impact Wrestling exit as he is now officially a free agent. Sammy Callahan, of course, a former Impact World Champion, has commented on his free agency. On Sunday, October 1st, Sammy Callahan became a free agent, thus ending his long-standing tenure with Impact Wrestling. Fans have begun to speculate on which company Callahan will end up signing with, as many options are seemingly on the table for the Death Machine. In a new interview with Fightful, Callahan revealed there's no bad blood with Impact Wrestling, as the two sides just simply couldn't agree on a new deal. Quote, "It is something that came up rather quick. I went through that horrendous leg injury and halted my career and put me at a stop for almost a year and a half. Hell, I just started feeling like typical Sammy Callahan probably 2 months ago. It was one of those things. We are on extremely good terms. I'm not one to come and say, you know what, screw you, you're a piece of shit. I'm going to bury your company. I would never do that. I don't want to do that because I do love Impact Wrestling. It's one of those things. We cannot come to an agreement on what I need to be paid to stay because I believe I offered more than what was really happening. In professional wrestling, I think more than just a professional wrestler at this point. I think I've proven time and time again. I think my fingertips and blueprint is all over professional wrestling, not only on an independent scale, but on a national television scale at this point. We could not just come to terms. I think both parties thought we were going to figure out something, so it kept kind of getting pushed back and pushed back. Then when push came to shove, it just didn't work out. Callahan was then asked about the possibility of still reaching a deal with Impact Wrestling, despite the fact that he is officially a free agent. Fightful provided instances of wrestlers such as Jordan Grace taking time away from a company before reaching a new deal. Quote, 100% at this point in my career, it's not like I'm some young upstart that's just fiending for a contract at this point. It's one of those things with Impact. I think it really did get pushed till the last minute because I don't think as many people knew my contract was coming up like I did. Because my contract was supposed to end last December, but because my leg got broken, we talked about this before, I was supposed to be out of my contract December 30th of last year. I broke my leg, and like any contract, time got tacked onto that. I don't even think I kept extremely good track of it. It's like, yo, my contract's coming up, contract's coming up, contract's coming up. Callahan also went on to state that he put the idea of his contract expiring so far back into his mind that he never realized how close it was to happening, saying, quote, people kept asking me and asking me and asking me, and I think I just put it so far back into my brain, I don't even think I even realized how close it was to coming up. It's one of those things. Looked, tomato, whatever happens, happens. Professional wrestling is professional wrestling. There's no hard feelings. I know I'm extremely motivated right now. As you said, people are pushing for me at one company, at other companies. There are people pushing for me in a lot of companies right now because I do have that reputation with certain people in the business, because I'm never one to be, oh, I help this guy or I help that guy or I help that guy. I truly do say this. It's not just me blowing smoke up people's ass. My blueprints and my fingerprints are all over professional wrestling, to the point I don't think people understand or really know that's the case. Callahan went on to say that he's just looking to produce great content as he wants to leave his mark on not only professional wrestling but people in general. He said, quote, "Great content in today's day and age. Content equals money. Content equals everything. We're in a rare time in society that anything you do is going to be put out for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. I want to leave my mark not only on professional wrestling but just people in general. I've always lived my life like that. I'm never to be gratified by one thing. I'm never content to be like, you know what, I've been world champion. I've wrestled for every promotion on the planet. That's not good enough for me. I want to continue to evolve. I want to continue to recreate myself. I want to continue to make other people. I want to continue to take people that think I have potential and help them get to the next level, because I've seen someone that you have your hands on and make it to the next level, getting to television, scoring the contract, having their entire life change. That's its own form of gratification." So where do you think Sammy Callahan is going to land next? Is he going to go back to Impact Wrestling? Is he going to just do indies? Is he going to go to AEW? Could he go back to WWE? Let me know your thoughts about that, as always, in the comment section below. But there you go, guys. It's the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.